Okay, hi, welcome. It's another Masterclass Monday. My name is Sarah Vizzani. I'm a Master Herbalist. I'm a former chemical engineer, and I am a 3 years in homesteader in Utah. So welcome to my house barn thing, unfinished. My laundry is hanging over there, and I have been newly blessed with these lovely storage racks that I can move. My food storage is just the dry food that we eat, like our beans and our grains and everything. Coconut flakes, good stuff. Anyway, so it's my food storage, but it's like not the traditional kind of food storage that you like set somewhere and never use. Like this is what we eat. Anyway, so I'm having fun starting to organize my stuff in there. That feels really good. That's just updates on the homestead. If you're new around here, we've been building a 16 by 24 foot house. I would call it a tiny house, except tiny house like means something very specific these days. So it's our cozy cottage. Anyway, so we just got the foundation, all the bricks up, and the sealant. My husband's parents just left from helping paint more sealant all over the foundation. So big progress, a lot to go. Pray for me, pray for all of us. I'm not doing the work. I'm 7 months pregnant, so my job is to teach. So here we are. Again, I'm a master herbalist. I am not a doctor, and I don't want to pretend to be one. I cannot prescribe. I got the order funny. I can't diagnose, prescribe, or treat disease. I am here to teach. And I am also a coach, and I have a handmade products business. So I'll tell you more about all of those things in a little bit. But today I am doing a masterclass. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Okay. On herbs for miscarriage. So if you have not seen the other master classes, please go back and watch the others. If you are watching this in our Facebook group, the Herb Powered Pregnancy, yay, invite your friends. Let's get the good word out to more people. And if you go to the top of the group in the guides section, you will see these master classes are organized in there, as well as any supplemental links to blog posts, other videos I've done, links to products, etc. Okay. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. If you want to join me live in these master classes so that you can comment and ask questions live with me, and get a higher level of support, please join the group. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below to go to the Herb Powered Pregnancy group on Facebook, answer a few simple questions. I'll let you in and you can join the party. All right. So the purpose of this group is to help primarily women, but also their supportive men. Of course, really, ideally, we're serving the whole family, but it tends to be women that come to me. So that's who I'm primarily speaking to, but women who are considering their first or next pregnancy all the way through postpartum. And I have a lot of resources for just people as well, like if you're a mom, if you're a grandma, learning basic herbal remedies, and basic health principles for creating true wellness in your body. Again, if you're new around here, I'm not the kind of herbalist who is typically going to say, use this herb for that thing and use this herb for that thing. That's typically how people come asking questions, because it is how we are, at least in the Western world and the United States. We typically have grown up in a system where there's a pill for every condition, right? And if I have my diagnosis in hand, then I just have to match the pill to it. That's not what I do. And so instead, while there are certain herbs that are very useful for certain acute situations, and I do teach about those, my primary desire is to teach you how to use herbs and wholesome foods in your life to create that true wellness, where your body naturally is provided the building blocks and the healing environment, which means a lot of different things, not just like, I have some fresh air, or I went to a retreat or something, so that it can heal. I really believe the body can heal. I believe that is how God designed our bodies, and I think is absolutely beautiful. So often when there's something going wrong in the body that would, say, typically receive some kind of diagnosis, I try to look at it as, what is the body trying to do? And what if it's not actually going wrong? What if this is the body trying to save you? Okay. And how can I help it? How can I give it what it needs to finish that process? How can I give it what it needs to clean out a little better, to nourish a little better? Because when we do that, those other things naturally just start getting better. Now, there are a lot of things that we might need to put a lot of effort towards healing, whether it's extra cleansing, extra nourishment, or targeting those specific parts of the body. And so that's when we start bringing in, oh, well, hawthorn berry is really good for the heart, and uva ursi is really good for the urinary tract system. Like it's fantastic. I'm not opposed to that. But really starting back at that baseline is where you're going to get the most power in your healing. Lots of people want to just, take some ashwagandha or take some cayenne and change nothing else about their lives. And they may notice a benefit and they may not. And they may then say, well, herbs don't work. Well, you actually can't out herb or out supplement a detrimental diet or a detrimental lifestyle. There are certain laws that we're governed by. And when we learn to understand those laws and we really empower ourselves, we can become our own healing partner with our body and with God. I really, really strongly recommend that everyone always connect with God on, okay, here's what I think's going on. Here's what I think I need to do. What do you think? Or do I have the right herb for this? Do I have the right, frequency for this, etc.? What's the right next step for me? Okay, so there's my very long overview, introduction, etc. Let me just check in and see if we have any new comments or questions. Mandy's here. Hi, Mandy. All right, awesome. So, okay, so miscarriage. So I'm going to talk about 3 herbs that have incredible historical use for miscarriage. Again, the last 2 master classes that we did, the one right before this was how to increase your fertility, and the one before that was, I suddenly can't remember. Oh, sorry, again, 7 months pregnant. Overcoming, moderate to severe female reproductive health problems, right? Which is necessary if you want to increase your fertility and have a healthy pregnancy. Okay. I love going back to the beginning. Let's go way before you're even getting pregnant. Let's get you so healthy that by the time you're pregnant, you can just be pregnant. I can't tell you how amazing this has been in my own life. I'm 35 with my 4th baby. Pregnancy brings enough of its own random stuff to deal with, and additional stresses and planning and all of this, and changes within the family, that while we can do extra nourishing and extra cleansing to a point in pregnancy, it's really better to do it before. It's going to make your pregnancy so much easier, so you can really just focus on being pregnant and nourishing and loving your body, and taking care of your family, etc., doing the things you love while you're pregnant. Okay. But if you go back and watch those videos, I do talk about herbs that are very, very good, have very much safe and effective historical use, for really, really nourishing, the uterus, the ovaries, all of that area. And so we've talked about raspberry leaf, nettles, alfalfa, squavine, also known as partridge berry herb. And so I wanted to make a quick additional mention on squavine. It's not one of the three that I'm going to highlight today because I already talked about it in the last two master classes. Go and watch those again. That is a key herb to include in your prenatal nutrition leading up to pregnancy and potentially throughout the entire pregnancy, depending on the person, if you have a history of repeat miscarriage. So go back and watch those. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, but now we're going to talk about 3 other herbs. All right, so the first one is yarrow or yarrow. Depends on who you're talking to, how to say it. I don't know. I switch back and forth. Anyway, yarrow, Aquileia millefolium. So this is an incredible herb, especially for those of us living out in the Mountain West. This is one that you can see out in the mountains. It tends to grow wild in kind of dry, dusty, deserty areas. And I learned recently that actually it can help the body handle that dust and kind of clear it out, which I had never known before. Pretty cool. It's typically used for fevers to help sweat out a fever, and as well as to stop bleeding. So that's what yarrow is typically talked about for. But it is also a uterine tonic. Now, it's not typically one that we want to be drinking like a whole lot of throughout the pregnancy. But for example, if I have a headache and I have some yarrow tea, I'm fine. Because it is also a fairly powerful blood cleanser, and we don't want to be on heavy blood cleansers in pregnancy, usually, unless there is a specific indication for it. And that's where you really need to talk to somebody like me or a midwife or someone else who really knows their stuff on herbs and knows your situation and can really guide you through that. So, but generally it does support a healthy uterus. So it's a great one to include if you are considering becoming pregnant, but not pregnant yet. And then my opinion is that during pregnancy, it's one that you use as needed. Again, for a headache example. Another amazing use is if a woman begins to bleed, and thinks that she is starting to have a miscarriage. So I had a friend that came to me. I was like a third of the way through the Master Herbalist program at the School of Natural Healing, which was created by Dr. Christopher. And so you'll hear me talk about Dr. Christopher a lot. He's an amazing American herbalist who passed away in the 80s, I think. Anyway, his family kept the school going. It's so good. So she came to me and said, what do I do for miscarriage? And, I knew the magical combination that Dr. Christopher used the most often with the greatest amount of success, which I'm going to talk about next, but I didn't have that on hand. And so I was like, what do I have in my garden? And I just prayed about it and read some things. And I thought, yarrow. I have yarrow and it's in perfect bloom right now. It's beautiful. It's like begging to be used for something, right? And so I told her what I knew about it and how I felt about it. And if it were me, what I would consider doing in terms of like how much tea to make of it, how many times a day to drink it, etc. And asked her if she felt comfortable with that. Now, we also added a little bit of lobelia, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And so she had started bleeding. She came to me. She left with the fresh picked yarrow, and she started drinking the tea. And the bleeding stopped that day. She went for a checkup the next day, and everything was totally fine. So that was pretty great, right? That was a really, really great outcome for her. Now, again, yarrow is known to stop bleeding, so it kind of makes sense. But then we add the lobelia. So let's talk about why we add the lobelia. The lobelia is a fascinating herb. If you're at all familiar with or curious about the history of herbal medicine in the United States, the Thompsonian movement, I forget what his first name was, but Thompson was his Samuel. I think it was Samuel Thompson. So he was sort of the precursor to the Jethro Kloss and the Dr. Christopher kind of era of American herbalism. And lobelia, he just started like experimenting with lobelia, and he would play tricks on people with it once he figured out what it could do. Because lobelia can make you vomit. So fun. Okay. But it can also stop vomiting. So it's this incredible herb. They call it the thinking herb. So it will do what the body needs. It will intelligently work with the body to go whichever direction it needs to go. So in the case of you've had something poison enter your body, and you need to get it out, or you're having an asthma attack or something like this, where the body needs help relaxing and getting something out, it needs to vomit. It's unpleasant, but sometimes that is the fastest, most effective way to get toxic junk out, and can solve a lot of things very quickly. Anyway, so if you take larger amounts of that, like a tablespoon or more at a time every 15 minutes, you can induce vomiting. But if you, have vomiting where, let's say you get food poisoning and, you've pretty much got everything out, like you're empty, but you're still dry heaving and you just can't stop. That's when you start taking little amounts of lobelia, like a few drops, every 15 minutes until it stops. Ooh, the sun came out. Woo! Let me know if I need to repeat anything because of the wind, please. Because it's kind of blowing the plastic around that's protecting my straw bale walls. Okay, so anyway, lobelia. So that's just one example of how it can go either way. So let's talk about what it does in the female reproductive system. So lobelia can help support, sorry, my computer windows are flying around. Lobelia can help support a strong attachment of the baby. I don't like saying fetus, but of the baby, to the uterine wall, and it can also support a very strong membrane. And so if a woman is beginning to miscarry, and it's simply that because those tissues need a little more support, when a woman is given appropriate amounts of lobelia, instead of vomiting, it can help seal up whatever membrane weakness is happening that is causing that bleeding to start, that instability to start. And it also just generally synergizes the other herbs. It just makes them more effective in a non-stimulating way. Cayenne would be more of a stimulant, or a ginger would be a stimulating herb to carry an herb to the uterus. But this is a little different. It's just intelligent. But the other thing that lobelia can do is, if that baby is no longer alive and the bleeding has started because of that the body is, trying to abort a dead or non-viable baby, then giving lobelia can actually help that process occur naturally. Obviously, that's, I don't, it's sad, right? But there is a point where there is nothing to save. And at that point, we still want as as natural and healthy a process for that miscarriage to complete as we can have. And so, so that has helped a lot of women avoid, you know, a D&C, which can create scarring, and it's traumatic, as well as expensive, and trips to the ER and things like that. So very interesting herb. Typically, again, the magical combination that Dr. Christopher used with great success for many women, it was false unicorn with lobelia. And it was 3 parts false unicorn and 1 part lobelia. And so let me show you on my website what that product looks like. It used to be called the anti-miscarriage formula, but then the FDA got mad, so that's always fun. Okay, here we are. So let me share my screen. Okay, so on my website, herbalembrace.com, I'll have a link below. This is the product that I'm talking about, Dr. Christopher's false unicorn and lobelia capsules. It is expensive. False unicorn is not a cheap herb. And then, of course, we have to have some, you know, kind of vague descriptions of what it can do. So I'm giving you the insider scoop on what this product was really designed for and what it has been used historically for, again, with great success. And so, again, is this one that we take throughout pregnancy? Typically not. Is there a case study or two from my studies where that actually was the best thing for the woman? Yes, but I wouldn't do that unless you were working with somebody to monitor you and assess if that was really necessary for your situation. Again, that's where something more like the partridge berry herb, that's more what you would use as a tonic if you had repeat miscarriage in your history. So instead, this is one that if you have that in your history and you want to be prepared, a person could have in their cabinet, in their herbal cabinet, to be ready if bleeding did start. And so, you know, so that friend that I told you about who used the yarrow and lobelia tea, I recommended that she also get this product and use it within a certain protocol, which I can link you to. Anyway, and you can also, she may have actually gotten some of the loose herb and started by having a tea. You can get any of these as the loose herb. If you want to get it through me, I don't have listings for single herbs on the website, but I can order them for you. It's just that the availability and the pricing changes all the time. And so it's not something that I can just list. But just reach out to me if there's a specific herb that you're like, yeah, I'm not really a capsule person, but I'd like to have this on hand. What would a 4-ounce or 1 pound of false unicorn cost me? Is it available, for example? Anyways, so yeah, so this is one of those formulas that has been used. If a woman begins to bleed, she takes this formula, and many women have gone on to have healthy pregnancies and deliver healthy babies at full term. But again, some women, in the case where the baby has already died or has something seriously wrong with it and is going to die, and the body is already starting to abort that baby naturally, this has also been used to help that process along. Again, it's not going to cause an abortion. That's not what it's doing. It's not going to cause a miscarriage, but it will help the body go whichever way it is naturally going. I hope I'm explaining that well. Again, again, if it's not viable, it will help that process. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to cover today. And a reminder, on herbalembrace.com, we have the fertility support tea called Mama's Hope. This is the one that has the partridge berry herb, and you can read more about it. There's link to blog posts here. This could be used just for a fertility boost pre-pregnancy, or it could be used, just through first trimester for those who have a history of first trimester miscarriage. Again, some use this herb the entire pregnancy, and some bring this back right before birth. They like to add the partridge berry back in because it does help prepare the organs for the birth process. And the other one, if you don't have a history of miscarriage, or, more moderate to severe reproductive issues, this is basically the same formula, but without the partridge berry, which, like false unicorn, is fairly expensive. So this is a better option for the women that don't need the heavy hitter, but they're both great options. So this one's called Mama's Glow, and I call it the pregnancy support tea. So again, if you don't have like any kind of condition, you just generally want to support your body in getting pregnant at a certain time or having a healthy pregnancy, this would be the one that I would use, that I did use pre-pregnancy and throughout the pregnancy. Yeah, drinking these teas, I can't tell you just how much of a difference they make, energy wise, health wise. It's so good. So what questions do you have? Please type them out in the comments. I know one lady asked in advance. Let's see if I can pull it up. If I can find it. Type your questions while I'm looking. Okay, so here's a question that was asked in advance. She said, I had one lady I took classes from that had been a midwife for 25 years and highly suggested false unicorn. Then my midwife that I used with my last pregnancy told me it's actually one you shouldn't use at all pregnant or trying to get pregnant. Just curious if you have any insight on it. So like I said, and like I've said in other videos, there's herbs that everyone has a different opinion on. And every midwife is also different in how deep their education is on herbs, or really their view on how to use herbs, if they're more of an atomist mentality or a vitalist mentality. So my education on this, again, is we use the false unicorn when indicated, and it is very, very helpful during pregnancy when indicated, right, by a threatened miscarriage. But we typically don't take it the entire pregnancy. So if you wanted to dive into this further, if you could ask her, what her direct concerns are, if there are particular studies or data around this that I could review and let you know kind of where that concern is coming from, then I'd be happy to do that. But that's my answer for right now. Ask me questions, ladies. I'm here for you. Okay, I wanted to mention a few other resources. If you aren't really like a video watching person, of course, you're probably not watching this channel or in my group if you're not, but let's just say if you like to read, two really great books that you can get on herbalembrace.com. This is one. It's called Dr. Mom's Healthy Living. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see. And it is by Sandra Ellis, who was a master herbalist and also worked as a midwife for a number of years. This book is quite fun, because she had her set of kids, and then something happened and she remarried, and then they had a number of children together. So she ended up with like, or it was that her second husband came with kids, and then I don't remember the exact story, but she ended up with like 11 kids, maybe 18, like it's something between 11 and 18. So this is her book right here. These books are really affordable. So here it is on herbalembrace.com, Dr. Mom's Healthy Living. But you know, she had all these kids to take care of, and she was a midwife. And so her stories are just like larger than life. I mean, like she had to deal with everything. And so it's just really fun to read her experience as a mother, studying to become a master herbalist, being a midwife, and the experiences that she had and the things she learned. It's so good. So she's got really great stuff. It's not only about the childbearing year, it's about everything really. But she has some really good stuff on the childbearing year. So that's a really nice one. And so she has a number of stories from her experience, and then it's basically an alphabetical review of different things. So with really nice quotes in there. So anyway, you can see, so like N is for nausea, you know. So it's a great reference book. The other one is Every Woman's Herbal. And this one has an interesting history because it's from the writings of Dr. Christopher, but it wasn't published until after he had passed. And the second author, I believe, was his secretary or his personal assistant. And so she used his programs and, you know, adds her own experience to it. It's a very interesting little book. And so this one is very focused on women's health, you know, all the way through menopause. And I really like this section right here. Let's see, is it going to, yeah, okay. So there's a section right here in the middle of the book. As you can see, it's a page and a half. It's a page and a half on herbs and pregnancy, on what to avoid, what to use only under special circumstances in small amounts, if at all. And then here's herbs that are typically taken in tonic amounts during pregnancy. Now, anything that is a tonic herb means something that you are having 1 to 3 or more cups a day of this herb, basically as a vitamin mineral supplement, or to support some other action that is needed. So something we're having consistently. So that's a really good resource here. And so false unicorn is here in the herbs used only under special circumstances, used in case of miscarriage only. So there you go. All right, so I wanted to mention those two books. There's other good ones. Those are the two I had on hand. I like that they're both a little pink, so you know, like this is for women's health. Okay. Let's check back in on questions. Okay, so we're going to start with how many months after a miscarriage should one wait to try again? You know what? I don't know. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know. That's not one that I'm an expert in. I would have to do some research. I know that a lot of doctors and midwives like have some kind of recommendation on that. And so that's where I would lean to answer that question at this time. I do believe, though, you could speed up the healing period, not necessarily try again sooner, but you could sort of supercharge your healing during that time by doing some cleansing and nourishing. Obviously, depending on what's needed to get your body in good shape again. Okay. PCOS and endometriosis tend to only stay pregnant for 1 to 2 weeks. I have purchased the female reproductive hormonal changes and wheat germ oil. Does it make sense to take these formulas? Does a dosage of 2 pills each 3 times a day make sense? Yeah, so if you go back to the video where I talk about reproductive disorders, that is the recommendation that I would give a person in that situation. Again, I cannot prescribe to you what to do, but I would feel very comfortable doing that in that case. Now, again, I am not a fan of just taking herbs and hoping it takes care of everything. I would strongly encourage you to look at what else is going on in your life. So we talk about that in those other 2 videos. And that is something that I offer my clients. I have a very detailed intake form where I get as much history as I can from you. And we look at your diet and we look at your lifestyle and figure out what needs some tweaking. For some people, it might not be very much. For some people, it might be a lot. And what I have found is that my clients who really take it to heart and do the things, whether they believe in it yet or not, but if they really do the things, they get the results. If they take little bits of it and don't change other things, they don't really see a difference necessarily. It can be a much more subtle benefit. So let me show you, I'm going to share my screen one last time. Let's see. Let me pull it up first, so I'm not showing any names to the YouTubes. Okay. So I did just restructure how appointments with me work. So I want to let you know about this option. Okay, so first off, there is always this free Smash Your Stress program. You click here and it actually takes you to my other website because, it's not showing up. I need someone else to go to that and see if it shows up because it showed up for me last time. Darn it. Anyway, so that's a free 7-day program teaching you how to drastically reduce your inflammation and your stress and and increase your resilience to life. But then for services, if you click on services, you can come here and see my consult option. Again, we do that intake. I study it out and prepare for our 60-minute call together where I ask you questions, you ask me questions, and we come up with a personalized plan for you. I send you anything relevant, even if I have to write up something that only applies to you. Sometimes I need to do that. And send that to you so you have that digital guide and you have a program to follow. And then you get a 40% off discount code for Dr. Christopher's and associated supplements on herbalembrace.com per consult. I do have a limited number of donated hours available for discounted coaching calls. Those are from people who have, again, they've donated calls to other people. Anyway, and so you can come right here and click on my schedule and you can get on my schedule and pay at the same time. And then I will send you that intake form. And then once you've had your consult, this is new. My follow-up calls are now shorter and they are only $100 versus the $250 for the main consult. And so You can have as many follow-ups as you want. But I also have a 6-week package if you want to pay everything in one payment or 2 payments and have that weekly contact with me so that we can have a really high touch experience. You can text me, you can email me questions during the program. I'm supporting you through the different cleanses and renourishment protocols, and guiding you through what you're experiencing. You know, sometimes we do a protocol that is going to help us, but we get a little uncomfortable at first, or we might experience something kind of weird. And so it's nice to be able to talk through that with somebody. Like, does this mean I should stop, or does this mean I should keep going, or maybe just back off a little bit, or try something different, right? Like switch it out. Maybe we didn't get the right herb for you, we switch it out. And with that, you also get free access to my whole digital library. So that includes my online classes up here. So I have these recorded classes on vitalism, and it takes you from, if you are a complete herbal newbie, you don't even know how to make a tea, you don't know how to choose between tea, tinctures, and capsules. I was there just a few years ago. And so I go through all of that. We talk about decoctions, syrups, infused oils, poultices, oils and salves, popular remedies, and how to make them and how to use them. We also have spotlights on various herbs that you can learn to grow yourself or find easily in the wild. In the wild. I mean, how wild is anything these days? But anyway, that's where I like to be, in the wild, finding herbs. And some other really beneficial modalities for healing. So that's something that, you know, you can pay for this membership, and I'm probably going to do a Black Friday deal on that, probably. So keep your eyes out if you're interested in that. But anyway, you pay by the month, but you could seriously watch all of these in 1 month and be done if you wanted to, or you can take your time. So anyway, those are some of the services that I offer. And so if you want to get a more personalized look at what's going on and how to meet your goals, I would love to help you. You know, it's really funny that I felt called to push through learning all of this while I was building a homestead off grid out of nothing with 3 kids and my husband, and now being pregnant and, you know, starting these other businesses. It's like, why am I doing all of this? But the more I learn and the more I practice the principles that I've learned and see how they work, especially when I involve prayer and inspiration and really discussion with God and asking him to bless the herbs, and asking my body to take them in, you know, this is really all part of it for me. This is all part of creating that effective processing. And I'm just so passionate about it. And so I would just love to help you too. So if you want help, if you're in my group, just send me a direct message on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, I provide some ways to contact me there. You can contact me through the website. If you just want to book a call, you don't have to contact me in advance either. You can just book it. So it's up to you. Okay, let's see if any last questions have come in. Yeah, and just another note on that. I think I said this in the masterclass where we talked about things like PCOS and endometriosis, but just in case I didn't, those formulas, like that dosage could be something that a pregnant woman takes her entire pregnancy, and is even useful postpartum at rebuilding and supporting those areas. But again, it really depends on the woman and what her needs are, because a pregnant body is busy. It's working hard. And so we don't want to overload it with things that it doesn't need. Kind of like how when we have a newborn baby and they have some kind of struggle, we don't want to slam them with super hardcore herbs, you know, and a whole bunch of them unless they're on death's door and that's what's indicated. But generally we want to try the most gentle modality possible. For example, instead of essential oils, we would use a hydrosol, or an herbal tea, or a bath. There's lots of options here. So I hope that made sense to answer your question. I'll hang out for a few more minutes to see if any more questions come through. You're welcome. Yay. Yeah, while I'm waiting for questions, those of you who've like been with me for a while, you know that I kind of like to talk about this stuff. So it's really funny because, well, it's actually not funny. Last night I got hit with huge overwhelm. Just like, I can't do this. I need to cancel everything in my life and just sleep for 3 days. Like I can't. And this morning felt the same way. Like I really struggled sleeping. I really struggled getting clear enough to think like, oh, maybe I should take my, my lullaby formula that I made. Oops. And sorry, someone's trying to call me. Let me tell her 5 minutes. Anyway, I was really struggling and just so overwhelmed. And even up to an hour before this call, I just thought, should I cancel? Like, should I cancel and just go to bed? And then I remembered that doing these calls with you guys, like even when no one shows up, right? Sometimes no one shows up. But being able to teach this and share what I've learned and share what I've experienced is just, it feeds my soul. And so I love to be able to share that with you. But I also started to think, maybe there's somebody that really needs this message. And I don't think the adversary wants them to have this message. I don't think he wants women to have hope. I think he wants women to think that there's nothing they can do if they start experiencing a miscarriage, or there's nothing they can do if they're worried about, becoming pregnant again and having a full-term pregnancy. He wants us to feel disempowered, but that's not what God wants us to feel. And obviously we can't control everything, right? Again, sometimes babies just don't develop correctly and it's just not their time. Other times there are ways that we can help the mother's body be stronger so that it can have that healthy full-term pregnancy. And I don't know if you think of anyone who would be receptive to hearing what I taught today, please share this with them. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure there's a lot. And I just thought, no, like this is just spiritual warfare. I'm going to get through this and I'm going to teach this class. So I hope those of you watching the replay have found value in this as well. If you are, please continue the discussion in the comment section. I would love that. You could write #replay. Helps more people in the group see it. Sometimes there's just so much coming at us all the time and things don't get seen. So I don't want this important information to get lost. Okay, one last question here. Where can I find your webinar on female disorders? Okay, so go up to the top of the group. It might look different if you're on your phone. It might be like a hamburger menu. But in the group, there is a tab up at the top that has discussion, guides, featured, rooms, members, events, media, files. That's what it looks like for me. And you just click on the guides section. And, oh, you know what? Let me just share my screen and then you can see it. This is what it looks like on the desktop. But this is my admin screen, so it'll look just a little different. But see, we're at the top of the Herb Powered Pregnancy group. And right here at the top, guides. And you go into these guides and you can see guide 1, guide 2, guide 3. This is the one you're looking for. And I'll tag you in it just to make sure. And so you can see each guide has the recording of the masterclass that I did, as well as helpful links to other things. And then the next class was on fertility. So this one will be guide number 5 when I get it uploaded and organized in there. So there you go. Again, I'll tag you in it so you can find it. Okay. We're about at our hour. Congratulations on making it, even with daylight savings changes. Oh, I got a heart from Christy. Thank you, Christy. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. I'll give you one last minute and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here with me today. Again, please share, please invite friends, neighbors, whoever you think would benefit from this group. And again, feel free to continue the discussion, ask questions, tell me your biggest ahas in the comments. That would be fun. All right. So take care. Next week, we are going to do, let me look. Next week, our masterclass is Herb Powered Nutrition for all trimesters. Woo! Get excited. Okay. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.